Hopper breaks into Hawkins' lab. He goes beyond the closed area and just then he gets stopped by two men. He then punches the man and grabs the gun from the other one. He enters with the man's card. Joyce is with her ex-husband and tells him that Will was right there, but he thinks she's imagining it all. Hopper calls out Will's name. He then finds a room with a doll and a drawing on the bed. As the boys are talking, Elle says upside down. Mike then says that she turned the board upside down. When they were at Will's place, he was on the other side and they just couldn't see him. Dustin says that it's like the Veil of Shadows. Hopper enters the elevator as he's chased. Dustin reads that the Veil is a dimension that is a dark reflection of our world, a place of decay and monsters. Hopper then enters a dark corridor. Elle doesn't know how to enter the upside down. Hopper then sees the portal entrance. Something's behind him. A masked man approaches and he's grabbed. Jonathan comes home and sees the hole and wonders if it was the monster. His dad tells him to stop as his mother's really sick and Jonathan's feeding into her hallucinations. Castle Byers is empty and the dog rests there. Will's supposed funeral is on the way and everyone's present. We see a flashback where Joyce calls her son Will the Wise as he's drawing a fantasy wizard. Hopper wakes up with a bunch of pills and drinks. He runs outside but sees nothing. He then begins checking everything to see if his house has been bugged. Eventually he finds a bug inside the lamp. Dr. Brenner listens into the conversation the boys tried to make with Will and then says that she was there, referring to 11. Jonathan shows Nancy that everything has occurred within a mile. That thing doesn't travel far. He wants to kill the thing. Jonathan has a weapon. No one will believe them, so they have to be careful. At school, technician checks the broken radio and then leaves. At the funeral reception, the boys talk to the teacher, Mr. Clark. They have questions about the existence of dimensions. He says it is theoretical. They ask him how they could theoretically travel there. He then demonstrates with an image of an acrobat on a tightrope who can only go forward or backward, like beings limited to one dimension. But a flea on the rope can move above and below it, showing access to extra dimensions beyond what the acrobat can experience. When they ask how to get to the upside down, he says that they'd have to create a massive amount of energy to create some kind of tear in time and space, and then create a doorway. Mike asks what if it already existed. He responds by saying that it would have disrupted gravity, a strong magnetic force would be present. Hopper's colleagues come to his house and he comes out with a gun. They mention two guys who went hunting and disappeared at Mirkwood. Hopper will check it out himself. They then also say that they found Barb's car next to a bus station. The officer wonders if Hopper's off on his medicine. Lonnie went past the quarry and says that there is no fence around the place and they should be held accountable for this. Mike then talks about the gate to the upside down. Dustin asks for everyone's compasses. He says that they are all facing north, but it's not the right north. There must be a powerful magnetic force nearby disrupting them. Joyce looks into Lonnie's bag and finds in there a paper for a lawyer defense for lawsuits. Steve comes to Nancy and apologizes. Joyce argues with Lonnie and says that he doesn't care about anyone and he's here just for the money. He argues that they could use the money for the kids, but she tells him that he does not care. But he tells her that she's a mess without him, but she shouts at him to leave. Jonathan practices shooting, but Nancy's good at shooting because she has experience. Hopper calls his ex-wife and says that he doesn't regret anything. They had 7 beautiful years together. When he hears a baby crying in the background, he hangs up. The boys then begin to follow the direction of the compasses. Elle's worried. We see her back with Brenner. He tells her they must go farther than ever before using the bath. They prepare her to enter. She is then lowered into the water tank with a breathing apparatus. The tank is then closed. Elle says that she's tired. Jonathan thinks Nancy's trying to be someone else around Steve, but she defends him and blames Jonathan, but he also blames her for her choices. Someone continuously knocks on Joyce's door. She thinks it's Lonnie, but when she opens, we see Hopper telling her not to speak. He looks around the house. Dustin thinks they came the wrong way, but Lucas says that it's Elle who's messed with the compasses because she doesn't want them to find the gate. She has blood on her jacket, and Elle is afraid and says it's not safe. Hopper looks for bugs but didn't find any. He's onto them and they're watching him. He then tells Joyce that Will's body was a fake. She was right. Lucas is angry and blames Elle. Dustin tells him to calm down, but he's out of control and then begins attacking Mike and calls Elle the monster. They begin fighting, but Elle also panics and throws Lucas. Mike then begins shouting at Elle. We see a flashback of the water tank. Elle's in a dark place and is able to hear a Russian man's conversation from a distant land. Brenner is able to hear the conversation too. As Elle observes the man, there's a scary animal sound. She backs up and then begins running and shouting for help. Lucas wakes up and tells them not to touch him and then walks away, but Elle's also gone. Nancy hears something. They investigate and see a hurt deer. As they want to end its suffering, the deer suddenly dragged away. They look around and see the blood. Nancy sees that it leads into a tree. She looks inside and then enters. She goes through a goo substance and comes out from the other side. It's also the forest, but everything's eerie and darker. She then sees the thing eating the deer. As she walks back, the thing sees her and she begins running. Jonathan hears a scream but can't find her. The entrance in the tree then closes.